We're going to have a bloody seismic disagreement here, aren't we?
You're still listening. This is our final transmission.
Oh, we're here. It's Final Transmission. It's me, Sam Russo. It's you, Jamie Carruthers.
Hello.
And it's you, our audience. Welcome. One horror movie a week. Dawn of time, end of time. How are you, Jamie?
I am doing great. I'm actually in a really good mood today. Especially so.
No way. Why?
Yeah. I don't know.
Wow. No metric, just
Woke up feeling good. Yeah. Woke up good.
You've got a little bit of
12 hours ago.
You got a bit of a bounce to you, a bit of a shimmer. Wow, don't do that anymore. For those of you who can't see, Jamie is miming fellatio. So, speaking of which, we're going to be talking about a movie.
We are.
Fellate me, Daddy. What are we talking about?
So, as you well know, dear audience, and I mean you more than most, Sam, this is our final week of rip-offs and cash-ins.
Wow, it's been a journey. It's been a ride.
It's been a race to the bottom, and don't worry, man, we got there.
It's been a living hell. To quote a very Merry Christmas. Carry on, Jamie.
It's been a rough old go. Like the month has been it's been tricky. There's been peaks.
Is this how you brief your team at the end of a hard month at work? It does really. You've got big time manager vibes right now.
Look, we pushed through, and we hit target. The target was
at what cost? Is my question.
The target was for Sam to take 5 attempts to watch a movie.
Wowie, wow.
A 75-minute movie.
75 minutes. The first movie I think maybe I've ever watched, but definitely for the podcast, it's taken me 5 attempts to get to the end. Wow. Thanks, Deborah.
Yeah. So the movie we're talking about this week is 1987's Slumber Party Massacre 2.
Which, at the surface of things, very promising.
Yeah, I would say that it has some promise.
Let's start where we mean to go on. Do you like the first one?
Yes, I do.
So the promise was the second one should be great.
The second one should be great because, A, the first one is loads of fun. I think the Slumber Party Massacre series, we'll call it all of them, it's like the first time that the tropes of slasher movies are really recognised and a light is shone on them to say, like, look, these are the tropes that have been honed over the past sort of 10 years of this genre, and we're going to just hit those tropes in a kind of meta way.
Right. In 1982.
Yeah. So the first one plays like a spoof, doesn't it? Almost. Like, it's like, I think the tropes that we've come to attach to the slasher movies are as a result of them being spoofed, I would say, in the original Slumber Party Massacre.
Yeah. I mean, I read years ago that it was actually originally going to be a spoof, just a straight up spoof. And they ended up, beefing it up a little bit and giving it some horror chops.
Yeah. And like that works because some of the other slasher spoofs that came out in the early to mid 80s weren't good. And like didn't really like work as spoofs or as slasher movies. I'm thinking like movies like Student Bodies or, stuff like that just didn't really land. And
it's the ultimate fuck up, isn't it? Failing at your parody.
Yeah. Well, I think the tricky thing that a spoof has to do is also be good on its own merits. It also has to be like kind of a good whatever it's spoofing movie.
Definitely.
That's why when we descended into spoof nightmare around the middle of the Scary Movie franchise, the spoofs more generally just stopped being good because like it was just references to things that existed and they didn't have a linear narrative that would stand up to the thing that it was spoofing. Yeah,
it's hard to be, there's only so much material there to milk, especially when the slasher genre is kind of redundant by that point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously piggybacking off Scream, basically, which was, slasher revival at its finest, but it was kind of over.
Yeah, and like there have been some good spoofs in the world since the Scary Movies. I love the movie Spy, the Melissa McCarthy movie where she has to be a spy. I mean, there are other ones that are pretty bad that I also like Spy Hard. And I guess I just like movies about spies.
Yeah, you just like spice.
Yeah, Dracula Dead and Loving It. It's pretty good.
Yeah?
I think that's late 90s, so pre-scary movies, but like not much, I would say.
I like Spaceballs.
Yeah, well, that was 1985, right? 1986. So
Pretty good.
not
horror related at all, but
no, but also not modern, I would say. And that's when spoofs were spoofs, I would say.
yeah. I mean, horror spoof is pretty low shit to me. Like, in the toilet that is this kind of movie, I think the horror spoof,
Yeah.
pretty near the bottom of the pan. Just, there's not much entertainment value there for me. The point of watching a horror movie is to be scared, to be immersed in an atmosphere, to enjoy an aesthetic, and to just systematically undermine that for laughs.
Yeah.
Removes 80% of the fun for me, even if it's really funny and really good. I'd rather watch something a bit more self-serious be spoofed, where you're not completely ruining the original intent. I don't know. There's an art to it that I think, like you said, got lost around that mid-90s boom.
Yeah, I think what also happened is that now all movies undermined their self-seriousness by, like, if you think about the Marvel movies, you can't have like a, I know you don't watch or engage with the
I'd
Marvel
rather
movies,
not
but
think
like,
about the Marvel movies.
but in every Marvel movie, every moment that would be like a heroic moment is always undercut by some sort of little gag. And it's just
Right.
I think that's why spoof movies don't work anymore, because every movie has to be a spoof. Every movie has to work for every person in the audience. So people that want to be there for comedy,
Ooh.
they get the comedy. People that want to be there for the action, get the
And
action.
everyone leaves unsatisfied
Yeah.
because they get 5 minutes out of 90 that's for them. Get fucked. What
If-
a nonsense mess we got.
If
ourselves
you
in.
think there's a single Marvel movie that is 90 minutes, you are fucking dreaming, mate. They are all...
They're longer.
They're all in the threes.
Ugh, why? What stories are they telling? Don't tell me. I don't want to get into it. Fuck the Marvel movies. Let's get back to where we're safe and happy and comfortable. The Slumber Party Massacre Part 2.
Yeah. So I think that this movie has a lot of promise in that it's a sequel to a movie that is good. It introduces a ridiculous slasher concept that is great. The dream rockabilly drill guitar man. There's no reason why that shouldn't be the greatest thing that's ever been put on screen ever.
We're going to have a bloody seismic disagreement here, aren't we? We've got a fight on our hands, people. Final Transmission listeners, get ready. There will be blood.
I'm not saying that the way that it comes out is any good, but like in theory, the concept of a
Dude.
fucking Andrew Dice Clay with a drill guitar coming at you in your dreams, that is chef's kiss to me.
I'm going to blow this up and be done with it. Are you ready?
Go on.
It comes out conceptually exactly how it's supposed to, and that's why it's shit. Because the concept you described is delivered perfectly in this film, and that's why it sucks, because it's such a terrible idea.
I don't think it is delivered perfectly, and we'll get into some of that later.
Okay.
But yeah, so there's promise that I think doesn't hit.
A lot of broken promises between sailors.
Yeah. If you want to know the why that is anything, why Sam said that, maybe subscribe to the Patreon and you can hear the preamble chat.
Why that is anything. Oh, excuse me. So, Slumber Massacre Party Man Part 2 doesn't quite live up to the original. We're going to tip our hands that much.
Yeah.
But could it be, in fact, that there's a lot of really great shit in this movie that we're going to try and focus on?
There are some
knowing
moments,
full well
I
that
think.
it's essentially junk.
Yeah. There are some things that I want to talk about that I think were cool and handled well.
Wasn't the original Slumber Party Massacre written by a feminist icon,
Yes.
Rita Mae Brown?
Yeah.
So we're doubling our money. We're basically making up for lost time here.
Exactly.
Feminism galore.
This was written by a woman and directed by a woman. It was the same woman, but
Well, there's double points still.
exactly.
There's women in it, loads of them.
Yeah. Not all of them get their boobs out, so that's feminism.
We lose some points for that, right? Is that how that works?
Nobody
Deducted a point for each boob that's not revealed.
is that your metric for how you score the
Success.
movies?
Feminism. I think what's interesting to me about the boobs not revealed in this movie, in case we haven't already lost every female listener in the audience, is that the two boobs that aren't revealed belong to a Playboy playmate.
Yeah. Probably
And all
just.
the other boobs, just off they pop.
Do you think that they're doing something subversive there, or do you think that the person who gets their boobs out for probably a decent amount of money in a magazine costs more for their boobs.
The latter. You're absolutely right there, I think. I think they couldn't afford the boobs. They could afford the performance, but they couldn't pay for the buzzy wuzzies.
Yeah,
they didn't have it in the budge.
I think maybe she paid them for that performance.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, realistically. I mean, she's great. Let's not get too far into the stuff that we love. We still got to preheat this oven before we slam in that clambake. So, I mean, it's probably time to tip your hand a little bit. You didn't enjoy this, did you?
No, I have watched this before, and I had a fond memory of it. And
yeah, you've sent me pictures of this guitar guy several times.
Yeah, and the fond memory, I guess I'd stripped away everything that I hated and just had a photo of the rockabilly guy in my brain, because this is not a good movie.
I am a little bit surprised at your flatness towards this movie. I kind of thought that you were gonna maybe love it. Ooh, yeah, maybe love it.
There are moments in this movie where I'm like, fucking A, this, if there was, 10 or 11 more moments like this, then I would be punching the air like it's the end of a John Hughes movie. But there aren't. There are maybe 5 or 6 seconds of good movie.
5 or 6 seconds of good movie.
11 more seconds and I would be punching the air. So
an hour and 17 and we get at maximum 6 seconds of good movie. You're going to rate this dog shit low. Wow.
Well, I've not thought about my rating yet because I always do it on the fly. So we'll see where it comes out.
It's up to me to save the day today, Jamie.
Had you seen this before?
No. So I made an enormous error last year. I enjoyed the Slumber Party Massacre.
Just the one?
Well, myriad errors. But one significant related to this film. I've got one significant related to every decision of the year. But this film in particular, I enjoyed Slumber Party Massacre. So when I was fucking around I was in somewhere like Romford or something. And I was going to this retro game store with a couple of my buddies. And we swung in this they've got a massive HMV there. And they had a huge sale on DVDs. And I picked up a copy of The Slumber Party Massacre. And I didn't read the cover very well. I assumed it was the second one. Because it had a very 80s looking cover. I just bought it real quick. It was like a couple of quid. It was the fucking remake. Do you remember we had a conversation about this?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, have you seen it?
No.
I cannot describe to you how bad this film is. It's quite possibly the worst film I've ever seen. Astonishingly shit. It has the guitar in it, so that's how I knew about the guitar.
Okay.
It has lots of references to the second one, obviously more references to the first one.
Yeah.
But it is its own shower of shit. I cannot offer more of a deterrent from this movie than to tell you that it is, I'd say, 20 times worse than Slumber Party Massacre Part 2.
Wow.
Inexplicably has 5.1 on IMDb, whereas Massacre 2 has 4.7. Has a really misleadingly excellent cover and box that caused me to spend actual money on it. And it is such an insult to humans spending time imbibing media. It's disgusting. So don't watch it.
I wonder if that has a better rating because the expectation is different. The expectation of the remake of the Slumber Party Massacre is much lower, I would say, than the sequel, where you've seen all these cool
Possibly.
Images and, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm wondering. I mean, it's unfathomable how people behave on IMDb, isn't it? You read some real shit, but the bottom line is, oh boy, don't be fooled. Don't see this and think, wow, what a great cover. I'm gonna watch that. It's fucking bad.
Well,
bad.
You're the only person that I know that is like making all of their decisions based off the cover.
Yeah, there's some saying about that I just don't. Doesn't resonate with me. I don't get it.
Yeah, for modern movies where the cover art has not been considered at all, it is all probably made in fucking whatever GPT nonsense.
Yeah, it's a really good cover. It's annoying. It makes the antagonist look classic as well. He's like a really greasy blue denim side parting drill guy, and you just think you cannot go wrong with this. Young cast of female protagonists in a cabin scenario with a driller guy who looks like that, you cannot fuck this up. And wow, do they? So maybe I'm coming at Massacre 2 in a totally different light to a lot of people, because I saw 1 remake and then 2.
Yeah.
So I'm just hungry for a film at this point.
So
I just want it to be a film.
You're basically having the opposite experience of what I just said, which is like the expectation being lowered.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah.
this film, I picked it because I was looking at various lists of rip-offs, and there's a lot of talk of this being a rip-off of Nightmare on Elm Street. And in watching, I mean, there are some moments that feel Nightmare on Elm Streety, and you know, dreams do play a part in birthing the driller killer into existence, but it's not a rip-off of Nightmare on Elm Street at all, is it?
Well, your next question should be, but what part do they play? Spoiler, not answered in the film. It's more Dream Warriors, right? If it's going to be anything.
But it's like, I think the fundamental thing in Dream Warriors, which makes Dream Warriors rip-offable, is that these fucking Captain Planet Rangers can all get together and put their rings together in their dreams and be beautiful and bad or whatever. So like, that's the thing that you want to rip off in Dream Warriors, is being able to have control in the dreams, and that's what we saw in Bad Dreams, which we covered way back when. So not really a rip-off, maybe a cash-in, maybe that's how we get around it, because, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street is big, so let's make a movie about a slasher that involves dreams somehow. Maybe that's how...
I mean, I've been a bit overly critical of some of your cash-in rip-off credentials here, but I think this is a rip-off. It's a disrespectful rip-off of the entire slasher genre. It's or a cash-in on the slasher genre, should I say?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there's enough connective tissue to any sort of even remotely astute viewer with the Nightmare on Elm Street universe to know that there's conceptually something being torn asunder here, and there's bits of fucking Trick or Treat popping off here. It rips off enough movies to be a rip-off movie, and it's derivative and cynical enough to be a cash-in.
Yeah.
So it's ticking a lot of boxes. That's not to say that there's not some real value in this film.
It's not to say that, but I'll say that later. Okay, so...
I'm just trying to tee up some hope so people don't turn it off immediately.
Anybody who's watched this movie no longer has any hope. So
I don't know.
I'm gonna drop a snop, Sam, and then we're gonna go for a break. How about that?
Cool. This could really finish him off. Go on, synopsize Slumber Party Massacre 2, please. Jeremy.
Okay, so Courtney, one of the survivors of the original Slumber Party Massacre, the little sister of the main girl Valerie, who has been recast here, is going to, or wants to go to a house, her parents' beach house, or her friend's parents' beach house or something, golf club house.
Yeah. Golf club house.
It's a house on a golf course, right? But unfortunately, her mum has organised for them to go for her, her 18th birthday. Her mum has organised to go and see her sister, who also survived the first movie, in a mental institution, also been recast. This mum forgot her daughter's 18th birthday. Just saying.
Yep.
That's bad. That's bad mumming.
Bad form.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
So ultimately, because she cries, they let her go to the place. And while she's there, she starts having dreams about the killer from the original Slumber Party Massacre, except somehow he's now a rockabilly guy with a guitar that's got a drill on the end of it. And he is killing people in their dreams, and then also killing people out of their dreams. And that's the movie. They all get really drunk on champagne at one point.
Worth mentioning, they're all in a band. That's the reason they're all going away together.
Yeah, they are all in a band. And here's a positive about the movie that I'm going to say that's not a spoiler, Sam.
Oh, God.
They sort of look like they're playing their instruments. The way that they change chords at the time when the music changes chords. That's good. Not to the right chords,
No,
but
not to any chords, but they're moving their hands.
Yeah, in time. And that's the
impressive.
key thing.
Surprisingly hard. Anyone out there who's ever had to mime or perform a song pretendy style with a backing track for filming knows it's actually quite hard.
Yeah.
So maybe even harder than actually just playing the song.
Exactly. The song is terrible.
Every song in this film needs to be shot into the fucking moon. It's so hard to get through those scenes. Some of those were my breaking points where I had to stop watching.
The song that opens the movie when they're in the car,
Yeah,
and they're singing along to that song.
not as bad as the others, I thought, but
It's the chorus is "I want to be your Tokyo convertible."
of course it is. when old What's Her Tits is writing that song and she's singing it, and what's the chorus? My God, it's bad. It's so funny. Absolute nonsense music in this film, start to finish. Nonsensical dross.
Yeah. There's
Impressive.
also not a spoiler, but there's a moment where she invites a boy to come and watch them play, which is he's Rob Lowe's brother, and so there's your Wayne's World connection.
Yep.
And he comes to watch them, and he's like, "I like your music," and I just screamed at the screen, "No, you fucking don't! This is garbage."
If you do, you're unwell. If this is your idea of, I don't know, right? Do you know what? When I was a young warthog, just a wee teen,
Yeah.
I definitely liked some royal shite, and there's every chance that he likes it.
Yeah, maybe. There's also I have said some things to, ingratiate myself with a woman that I was attracted to, and sometimes they've been lies.
You bent the truth every now and then.
Yeah. The only reason I got into like modern punk was that I really fancied a girl that liked Less Than Jake, and so I was like, I like Less Than Jake. And she was like, "Oh, cool. Why don't we go watch Less Than Jake together?" And I was like, "Okay." And so I had to just listen to Less Than Jake for ages so I knew the words.
Right.
And then by the time it came around, I loved Less Than Jake. And that's
just getting into a band, Jamie. That's the story of a man learning that he liked a type of music. That's not a deep web of lies.
I'm not saying
you told one little porky.
Yeah, it's still a lie though. It was a lie that I told to a girl that basically changed the course of my entire life.
Maybe that's what happened to Patrick Lowe. Maybe that's why he was only in 3 films and then disappeared off the face of the earth.
You couldn't get any Patrick
His big lie was, "I'm an actor." Then he was in 3 films and disappeared forever.
All right, Sam. Well, why don't we take this break and come back and get into some spoiler news?
Yep, one of 5 breaks this episode.
Whoa, holy shit. I guess that's why they call it Phantom Power.
What I want most is a pie in the sky.
What?
I want a sugar daddy with a candy shop.
That's great. I like that lyric. It's really good. What I want most is a pie in the sky. Goes downhill.
Yeah.
Tailed off. Do you think she's improvising?
I don't think she is, no. I think somebody wrote...
Are we back?
Yeah, we're back.
Okay. What I'm worried about here is that we're missing a deep, quintessentially feminist subtext.
If you wanted
that
to go...
candy shop song might be fucking pie in the sky thing might be seriously meaningful and we're missing it.
Yeah, just to say, if you wanted to celebrate feminism, you should go to redscare.net.
Yes, you should. There will be some announcements in the coming months that will be decidedly cause for celebration in the field of feminism.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Can you tell me off
So
there?
shut up.
Yeah, go there, do that, be cool.
Yeah. So where did this film fuck you hardest? When you started watching this, when did you know the jig was up?
Pretty quickly.
Ah, okay.
The performances in this are, I would say, without any hyperbole, that they are the absolute, categorically, the worst performances in any slasher movie ever.
Do you know what? I think they're quite good.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You're doing the thing. You're doing your little contrarian bullshit thing.
No, I actually think they're fine. I think they're fine. They're fine because...
They're not fine.
They are, dude. Like, let's do a compare and contrast. I'm putting a slasher movie like My Bloody Valentine quite high in the key performance stakes. You know, you've got an ensemble cast. They're doing a pretty good job of being real humans who end up in a stupid plot and a silly situation, right? Which is a lot of slasher movies. If you look at a movie like Friday Part 1, which gets enormous amount of praise for its slasher performances, I think is pretty low in the pecking order in terms of like the actual slasher teens performances.
Yeah.
So somewhere in that spectrum, I think this, it's in there.
Well, that means nothing. You said loads of words that meant nothing. I
started changing my mind as I said it.
This is in the pecking order. I don't really know what that means in terms.
It means it's not so shit that it's off the scale. You can't even consider it as a performance, like you just said.
I think it's in the pecking order. This isn't getting pecked; it's getting shat on. What's
it worse than, in your opinion?
Everything that came before and after it.
I think it's better than Friday the 13th Part 5, performance-wise.
I don't. There are such egregious moments of performance in this that make no sense. There are again, much like there are nuggets. There are nuggets of good performance, and there are nuggets of like things that happen that are okay, and that's what makes it a movie that I can watch in one sitting like a fucking trooper.
You really are a trooper if you can watch this in one hit and really be paying attention.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And when they're singing along to that Tokyo Convertible song at the beginning, I was like, this music is terrible. And then there's just more of it.
It's a lot of that music. I mean, look, do you know what it doesn't do? Is the thing in the Friday movies where you just have dumb, pointless, caricaturish performances, like the businessman wandering around in the woods.
Yeah.
Or like I said, bald coat guy, or the teenager with special needs who gets axed. You know, these are awful, awful crimes against acting. Truly dreadful. You don't get that in this. At least everyone appears to be trying their level best.
Yeah.
And I think while there's not exactly emotional resonance in a lot of the performances, I believe most of what I'm seeing, to be totally honest. I think these are lowest common denominator bullshit slasher characters doing those things fairly convincingly.
I don't think anybody does or says anything remotely convincing that isn't screaming.
Some good and sex, some good sexing. The person who lets the entire fucking side down and relegates this to the realm of nonsense is your boy Atanas Ilic.
Yeah, he's bad.
Credited as being the driller killer. He's abysmal.
I don't think he's the guy letting the side down. I think he's giving a bad but relatively fun performance apart from in his musical number.
Yeah, and I think fun is so painfully subjective in this movie. We're always going to disagree on it. Yeah. I think he is hands down the worst thing in the whole movie.
Because all he has to do when he's not doing that musical number, which is fucking egregious and terrible, all he has to do is sort of shake his drill guitar around and like thrust his hips and stuff, and then quote song titles, which is bad, but like that's all they're giving him to do. So he can't. I don't think it's his fault that like it's not great. And like
I agree. Actually, yeah.
There's
can't
no
blame him.
Yeah, like it's not his fault. Whereas everyone else has lines and dialogue and shit that they're supposed to be doing and emotions that they're meant to be portraying, and they're just not. They just don't. They just.
But the emotion, the performances don't require lofty, convincing, emotional performances. I don't think it's not that kind of movie. I just think everyone's pretty much doing their job here. There's not one character that I think, oh my god, you're insufferable, or you're. I just wish you were dead.
TJ,
there's none of that.
Fucking
I
TJ.
love TJ.
TJ is one of the worst characters I've ever seen in any movie ever.
TJ's great. I know. Here's how you find the emotional resonance in TJ's performance. His apology when he realizes he's nearly drowned. What's her name? Mango.
Courtney.
Yeah. when he apologizes and you get that cool upwardly pointed shot from her POV where she's been resuscitated, he actually acts there and there's some vulnerability in it. And that's where he yanks his performance from the teetering brink of ridiculousness and pulls it back into the realm of something resembling art. I think he has a rough job in this movie. He's obviously the male comic foil, which is a role routinely fucked up by 9 out of 10 actors in slashers, especially in franchises like Friday. And he at least brings some self-awareness to it. He knows he's dumb. He knows how stupid the character is. And he still fucking sticks it in and breaks it off. I got respect for this performance.
So this apology that you're talking about, is that when he says, "How's your headache?" Like...
No, it's when he says sorry about that immediately before he says, "How's your headache?"
He is so bad. I hated him.
Yeah. See, it's all a matter of taste at this point, my man.
Yeah.
You love this driller killer rocker bullshit, and I love the bad comic foil.
Okay, so let's get into the driller killer stuff and why I think it's okay, at least conceptually. And some of it in the movie is okay, and some of it isn't. And like,
sure,
the core idea of a rockabilly guy with a drill guitar is cool. Like that is cool. You can't.
I can.
How?
I will.
How
it's
can you?
Not cool.
How can you?
It's ridiculous.
Just
so dumb. So boring.
What's boring about that?
Pointless. Uninspiring. Lame. No. Dumb.
I
impractical, to say the least.
I mean, all slasher killers are kind of impractical, right? And lame.
Yeah. But there's layers here, bud. Like, how are you killing anyone with that thing?
Well,
how?
They stand
how does
very,
he kill the
they
fucking
stand very
the girl in the
still.
back seat? Like, his guitar doesn't even fit in a car. How does he pull that? It's nonsense. It's not aesthetically appealing to me. I think it looks awful. It's this type of fun that I just don't get. This like over the top. Yeah, it's not scary. It's not. It just does nothing for me. I'm struggling to articulate what it doesn't do for me because it does so little. Piss poor, shocking bullshit.
I think the idea that he, for the most part, mugs to the camera doesn't play out in a way that is good, but conceptually, again, could be good.
I just think it's so wanky. Like I think I like my slasher villains to have genuine menace and to be scared of them and to feel the fear of the victims resonate in my experience of watching the movie. If this guy showed up, I honestly, like, I'm not the guy who watches the movie and is like, oh, just kick him in the bollocks or whatever. Like, I don't do that. But watching this, I was like, you could just fucking punch this guy in the face and it'll be over. Like, he's pathetic. Like, get that drill out of his hands and kill him. Like, it just wasn't even believable as an antagonist. I just didn't. And then you remove any sense of realism, any sense of motive, any sense of practicality.
Well, the motive is that he's the killer from the first one. He's just a different guy now.
Yeah, but that's not a thing. You can't just say he's the killer from the last film, except he's completely different in every single way. It doesn't work like that.
He's been reincarnated as a dream greaser. A dream greaser.
Dreamweaver. He sucks. He's the reason I turned it off almost every time. Like, when it got to a him scene, I was like, I can't do it. I can't do another one. Can't do 2 scenes with him in it in one sitting. It's too painful.
One of his moments is my favorite moment in the movie.
What? What's the moment?
So it's not really a him moment, but it's a kill with the guitar drill.
Right.
But it's actually the ancillary moment from the kill. So when they're trying to ring the police and one of the girls is getting killed in a different room and it's like drilling through, and then the phone just falls apart because he's drilling through the wall and through the phone. That is so fucking cool. And like there's blood on the drill and like it's just destroying the phone. The phone is just like falling apart in front of their eyes because like it sort of takes you a second to be like, why is the phone falling apart? And then the drill continues to come through it. It's, I would say, one of my favorite moments in any slasher movie. It's really fucking good.
Wow. Oh god, I thought it was shite.
I mean,
felt like a pulled punch. Didn't like it.
Felt like a pulled punch. It feels like the most violent moment in the entire movie. I mean, the reason why it feels a bit wanky is because on the other side of the wall, the girl getting killed is shit, and she sort of stands there. It's the steamroller scene from the first Austin Powers movie. Like,
Yeah.
she's standing there screaming, and he's like a clear 15 feet away, sort of slowly charging at her.
Yeah.
So that's why that weakens it. But the moment on the other side of the wall, I thought was cool. Because, like, you don't know that those walls are connected. It sort of establishes this apartment or house or whatever it is that they're staying in as like a real space where that exists in 3 dimensions that you've never really considered before because of the way that it's shot and the way that it's made. And it sort of puts the movie into sort of 3D, it brings in a 3rd dimension, which I thought was great. And it's probably like, well, it's definitely my favorite moment in this movie. And as a moment in bad slashers, probably in my top 5 bad slasher moments.
Yeah, that's more like it. It's still borderline inexcusable that this guy is in your top 5 bad slasher moments. I think it's undeniable that the drill coming through the guy's chest from the back is the most brutal part of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good effect done well.
Yeah. Like I
and
said, there are moments. That's one, the exploding zit thing.
that's the best. Yeah,
It's
hands
fucking
down.
great.
Yeah, absolutely top shelf. And everyone in that's doing their job. Again, it's just a well executed scene. Great effects that escalate beyond where you think they're going to go. 2 good performances, some excellent gore. It's not a melt, but it's a pass, which is great.
It's melt adjacent, I would say. I wrote there's like a vaguely melty
Melty
prosthetic.
face, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the peak of this movie for me, is that moment. And it's the most Dream Warriors-y moment, which
Yeah.
again is a film I don't like. So I thought that was a very, very well executed scene, and the only time I felt any kind of horror vibes from the movie. Can't say I was scared.
I
But
think
it felt like I was watching a horror movie for 10 seconds.
Yeah, I think like the amount of pus that comes out of that zit is the perfect amount of pus. It's like a trauma amount, and it was fucking great.
100%. And when it hits old what's her knob in the face,
Courtney.
she retches.
Yeah.
Superb. More of that, please. Yeah, great.
I thought the most sort of Nightmare on Elm Street moment was the chicken.
The chicken was so piss weak.
Good
Lord.
I
didn't even understand if it was meant to be scary. I was like, what's happening?
I mean, I definitely agree that it was piss weak, but I also just really enjoyed it as like a weird left field choice. It felt like the sort of thing that Freddy Krueger would do, is like march a chicken towards you and spray blood all over your nice clean t-shirt, and that's the scary thing.
Yeah, true. Yeah, there's a bath full of blood. There's some really dismissible cack, but at least the chicken's engaging.
Yeah.
I can't say it's
I feel like
entertaining, but it's engaging.
The chicken and the zit pop, those sort of feel like Screaming Mad George special effects, like your Society and that sort of stuff.
There's some Society bleed here, right? Wasn't Heidi Kozak Haddad in Society?
Yeah, I think so.
There's some chops here. The people acting in this movie are in other movies. They're not just like one summer wonders. They've actually done shit. And I think that's why I lump a little bit more credence on the performances, maybe. Some of these fucking actors were in real movies like Heathers and, other well-respected horror movies.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I think outside of the 2 core performances in Heathers, everybody else is fucking terrible, especially the Heathers.
I suppose, yeah, it's not actually much of a mark for performance.
There are
in fact
not
3 terrible movie, I guess.
There are 3 good performances in Heathers, which is Christian Slater, Winona Ryder, and the guy that delivers the line, "I love my dead gay son."
Such a great line.
Yeah. The champagne fight is the worst thing in this movie, I think. Also,
I loved it.
No one in the history of the world has ever done, said, or even thought the things that happen in that scene.
2 things. When the 2 guys are perving on him,
Yeah.
one of them does say, "I didn't think girls really did this." So that's some self-aware filmmaking, at least.
Like, it is self-aware.
And I would also contest, I think girls do that. And I'm not going to let you tell me they don't.
The one that's just like, I'm going to get my boobs out and hit you with my bra. Like, no woman that's ever invited dudes over has ever done that.
They didn't invite them. They crashed.
They invited them.
Oh, I thought they crashed.
They invited them. I don't think it was ever explicit that they invited them, but one of them's her boyfriend, so it's pretty sure. And she invited. They're like, oh, me and all my bandmates are going to be at this house. We're going to invite the one dude that I like, and you all have to listen to us bang in the next room or whatever. Like,
pretty good. I liked that whole scene, including the direct eye contact with the camera with singular dances where each girl does their own little here's my personality dance and then are inexplicably in a chorus line row immediately after. I thought that was great. That was the closest thing to fun this movie had to offer me. So don't take that away from me, Jamie, please.
I won't take it away from you. They're trying to do something here and it just misses the mark. It's like, do you know how you felt about Phantom of the Paradise and like how they're really going for a vibe and a mood, but like it just didn't land for you. It obviously massively lands for me, but it just didn't land for you.
Yeah.
Like I think this doesn't just not land. It just doesn't. It's still up in the air. Like they're just trying to do something and it just doesn't work.
But it's such a simple premise that surely it works. It's a bunch of girls getting naked and having a champagne and pillow fight.
The whole
like
movie,
that happens.
but like,
the whole movie. Okay.
Like the
the movie is a roller coaster of fuck ups. Like just when you think you're getting something that works, even if it only works within the restrictive and ridiculous confines of the slasher genre, you're immediately fucked in the gob and the ass 2 seconds later by something that is just such a fundamental undermining of what makes a film enjoyable.
Yeah, I think like
it's always like deliberate sabotage.
There's loads of like breaking the fourth wall or like making eye contact with the audience. Like the driller killer at one point is like, oh, now it's the fun part.
Yeah.
In like a really sort of Freddy Krueger-esque way. And then, unfortunately, the fun part isn't loads of killing. It's a fucking musical number delivered to camera. Frankly, nobody is here for that.
No, I'm never here for that.
If you're gonna do that, you need to do it in a movie that is better.
Or just don't. Like you could honestly do us a favor and just not do it.
I think like there's a movie that works in. There's a slasher movie where that works.
Oh, a slasher.
Yeah. I mean, not a real one that exists, but like there's a movie out there that is yet to be made where having the killer do a musical number to camera right before the climax, where that works, where that doesn't feel forced and terrible and like it takes 4 hours.
I'm going to say it's always going to do that if it's not a musical. Like, you can't just do that once or twice in a film and expect people to be like, oh, okay. It doesn't work on a simple am I entertained level. It's too whip crack, jarring, and nonsensical to work. Do you think this is a Danny Grease ripoff thing happening here? Do you think this is Danny?
No. I think that Andrew Dice Clay was the biggest thing in the world in 1986.
Oh.
He was selling out arenas and saying nursery rhymes and making millions of dollars probably. Was just so gigantic because the world was obsessed with greasers and 50s and all that stuff. So
yeah,
I think it's way more of an Andrew Dice Clay thing than it is anything else.
Right.
So have him do some fucking stand-up as opposed to a musical number. Have him do 3 minutes of like murder-themed stand-up to camera. That would be way better.
Oh, there's no better or worse in this scenario for me. Either way, you're getting some fucking mid-nonsense fucking secondary school drama kid's idea of what's going to be novel and interesting in a slash movie, and it just flops flat on its own dick.
Yeah, I think make the song that he sings, make it be about killing people or something. Make it be something vaguely sinister. For sure. Make it be like a Cramps song. Make it feel like a way more like a Crampsy vibe than this. Like, I mean, the song that they do, the Buzz Buzz song, like, I mean, the Cramps could have sang that, but not this version. It would be way more sort of rickety and crotchety.
Jank. Yeah.
And that would have been great. But like, just this song about him being really rich, like it's a weird song for your slasher villain to sing.
So dumb. It just nothing about him works. I'm sorry, bud. Nothing about him works. He brings nothing.
I agree that in the movie, nothing about him works conceptually.
He is the concept, though. He's not a poorly delivered version of an excellent concept. He's not. He is as written. I guarantee
Like,
it.
yeah, but you can write. You could come up with a concept, and I could write it badly, and then
Not a concept as insanely specific as rockabilly driller killer with a guitar drill in Slumber Party Massacre Part 2, singing songs about being rich and randomly appearing and doing bad killings.
I don't think that him singing songs about being rich is part of the concept.
I think it fucking is. He spends about 10 minutes doing it in a 70-minute movie.
Like, sure, but conceptually,
Somebody round that table said, let's make him sing about being rich.
it's so dumb.
Do you know what it is? It's a fucking broken I think you should leave sketch. It's like Tim Robinson wrote it and someone fucked it up completely.
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, what's interesting, Juliette Cummins, who I think is good in this.
Yeah.
She was also in Friday the 13th, A New Beginning, the movie I was just saying is worse than this. And she's also in Psycho 3. Chops galore.
There are no
Buzz,
chops.
buzz. She's got chops.
There are no chops in any of those latter Friday the 13th sequels, apart from maybe David Cronenberg in Jason X. So another moment that I think, the driller killer moment that I think is quite cool, when he's sort of fairly early on in him being introduced, we've seen flashes of him in her dreams, and like those flashes are fine. I think it's just like miscellaneous gore and bits of drill and like him seen from like weird angles, so he doesn't have time to fuck anything up.
He's saying stuff though, and that's when it lost me.
Well,
it was
like
clawing it back from that moment on when she dreams there's a guy and he's like, I'm coming to get you with my drill. Like,
so, but the moment when like the first time he speaks
yeah,
he speaks directly to camera because he's talking to her and he's in her
Sure.
dream, and so he's addressing her and we're her or whatever, which, you know, is trying to do something but it doesn't work, but it's trying to do something cool. But him sort of screaming don't go all the way, I think is quite cool.
what, in terms of the weird slasher universe preconception with virginity?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like nailing on those tropes, absolutely nailing them to the mast, really, I think is interesting. Not necessarily good, but kind of cool.
If it was in any way followed up, or
Yeah.
if it played even the slightest part in his origin story, or if it was ever mentioned again, then yes. But no, it's just some words that he says, and it never comes back.
Yeah. And then also the other sort of cool moment that I enjoyed was the very last moment of the film where you sort of think that she's had this happy ending. This is immediately preceded by her killing the slasher by just setting him on fire.
Yeah.
That's like day one for Freddy Krueger. Come on.
I drifted so much by this point in the movie that I was almost in a catatonic state. As in, it's like, I don't know if you've ever looked through a kaleidoscope with your eyes completely crying. That's what I was seeing on screen. I was so fucked by this film that I couldn't even comprehend shape and space anymore.
But okay, but the cool thing that happens at the end is we have what appears to be the super happy ending, and then she wakes up in the insane asylum.
Yeah.
Like she has like a moment where she wakes up and she's like, "Oh, it was all a dream. Hee hee. Oh no." And she's lying next to her boyfriend, and then it turns out that her boyfriend is the driller killer, and then she wakes up and she's in crazy loony bin asylum house.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool. I thought the idea of like the hard cut to she's in the either the whole movie existed in her head because she's already in the asylum from what happened before, or we just smash cut to her being put away for being a murderer, because obviously it's insane to say that, you know, the dream killer did any of it.
Yeah, I understood it to be that the whole movie was a dream, and I value my television. It's something that I enjoy using, but the urge to drop kick it has never been higher. My blood boiled at that point. I just couldn't believe that's where they went with it. But they did. It happened. I didn't drop kick anything, and it's over.
Yeah, I mean, it's not It's not good.
No.
And like, I don't think they're trying to do anything feminist or even remotely sort of empowering or subversive in this movie. And if
I mean, your proof is that ending. I think that proves there's nothing to this film.
yeah. But I mean, if they are trying to do any of that, they just sort of miss it. They just fail. And I'm looking for that. Like that's who I am as a person. I'm looking for subversion and interesting storytelling and ways of like creating a sub narrative or like subtext that has something interesting to say, even in the worst fucking movie.
Yeah, even if it's a guff muffin, like just something that is not what you thought it would be. Almost anything, but the whole thing was a dream.
Do you think this is a thing that has just occurred to me? Do you think this like band in the 80s being murdered by like a 50s rock musician, like rockabilly guy, do you think that there's some kind of subtext there about like how the classics will always destroy the new stuff?
No.
No.
Is that a thing? Do the classics destroy the new stuff?
Well,
what
like-
does that even mean?
Like, I mean, like, not destroy, like, physically. I mean, like, people still listen to the Beatles and Elvis and Chuck Berry, and people don't listen to fucking Bananarama. Do you know what I mean?
You probably do. You're sitting there with your Bananarama and Monkeys records. People don't listen to Bananarama because they're shit.
Yeah, don't put
People listen to
Bananarama
Chuck
and
Berry
the
because he
Monkeys
fucking
together.
rips.
Don't put Bananarama and the Monkeys together just because the monkeys eat bananas. That's a weird thing to do.
Same band, basically.
No, they're not. Bananarama are a British all-girl band.
Yeah, and what are the Monkeys?
An American all-male band from a different era.
That's a shame. I thought they were the same band.
The Monkeys were from
I
the
think
60s and the Bananaramas were from the 80s.
if the message of this movie is that Bananarama will always be destroyed by Chuck Berry, then sure.
I just that it must be significant that they are a band.
I love the idea of waking up and just being like, oh, I really need to make a movie about how Chuck Berry will always destroy Bananarama. Oh, sorry, that really got me good.
Yeah, like but like people listen to Bananarama and the Bangles and stuff, but they're not classics like music from the 50s that is now part of the ongoing canon of music. Is what I meant.
Yeah, but there's so many factors there. It's not just, not every band is a classic band. Like there's a reason some of those are classics and some of them are Bananarama. Like it's called quality. Like,
I mean,
they're a band in this, I think, because it's easy to make them a band. If your idea is that you have a musical killer, then why don't you have musical protagonists?
yeah.
It's a way to get 4 gals into a house.
You can get gals can just be friends.
Yeah,
You don't need to make them mime playing the guitar and drums and stuff.
it's almost the only thing about the movie that makes it interesting, though, to me.
Yeah.
Is that they're in a band.
Well, I
so
just think that there must be something about it that they're trying that they want to say, because otherwise it just seems like you're making work for yourself for no reason.
maybe they just wanted musical numbers, and they just wanted a way for that to seem fluid without it being. I don't think it's that hard to throw some instruments into these performers' hands and have them mime a song in order to set up the premise that they're a band. I think the idea was, let's try and do something cool with them being in a band. I just think them being a band is so incidental, which is a shame because it could have been a thing. They could have fought back with their instruments. We could have had that at one point. Like that would have been fucking terrible.
His only method of killing people is his drill on his guitar, which conceptually, again, I think a guitar that has a big fucking spike on the end of it that you ram through people is cool, because guitars are cool, killing people is cool, spikes are cool, 3 cool things together. But
that
the issue is that you
3 cool things together doesn't always work, Jamie. We've been through this.
Sure, that's why there's only 2 of us on the podcast. But if you give this bad actor who is unconvincing in this role an unwieldy weapon and make him not be able to use any other weapons, it becomes very boring very fucking quickly. And there are
no
like
variety,
I say,
no kill variety.
Yeah.
Use a cymbal as a shield. Do you know what I mean? Like, do something with a musical instrument if that's your motif.
Yeah.
If that's going to be what you're hanging the identity of your core four characters.
Your core 4.
4-chord core 4. Yeah, if that's what you're hanging them on, then use it. It comes into play exactly 0 times.
But like, it'd be so cool to have them, his killer instrument versus their killer instruments.
I'm definitely not going to agree with you that it would be so cool.
I mean,
I'm just saying, if you're going to use it in any way, use it that way. Surely, it's the most obvious, simple way.
In a movie, in a better movie, this
Bill and
movie,
Ted.
if someone cared about any part of it, that's
Yeah.
something that they would have done. They've got guitars. Have them at least like he's coming down with a drill and they hold the neck of the guitar up and it blocks it. And maybe it cuts through it and goes through their head or whatever. But like still make
Trip
some
in
reference.
with a mic cable. Do something.
Yeah.
Have a plan, ladies.
Yeah.
If
there's one message to take
love.
away from this episode, it's ladies, have a plan.
I think what I love about this movie is the pool scene. I think the whole time they're at the pool, it's shot in a way that is so of its time, which makes it, to me, a little bit nostalgic. It feels like a slasher for a probably too long. I think that pool scene is too long, if anything. But it feels like a slasher for the whole time they're at the pool.
Yeah.
It looks great. The colours are soft and pastel. It's got a slightly blurry edge. There's some tension-building antics. You get some more depth of character. It feels like quintessential slasher filmmaking for a very hot minute.
So I wrote down during that moment, I wondered whether they were trying to make something that seemed sort of dreamlike and fuzzy. Like, I mean, and that works because if it is all a dream of her in the mental hospital at the end, then it would make sense that it would feel sort of dreamy and ethereal and non-corporeal. But like, doesn't really work. But I know what you mean, and that's the scene that really like nails it on for me. I thought it does look cool. I think the way the characters talk is terrible, and I hate TJ. Do you know, like, I mean, we've talked about this before, but like the way the 80s movies sort of glorify or whatever, being like a peeping Tom.
Yeah.
When you watch,
I prefer PP Tom for the record.
Yeah. When you
PP Tom.
When you watch like Back to the Future or even like Revenge of the Nerds or like Sorority Babes in the Slumber Ball-orama, like when those guys are being peepees, they
George McFly is told off for being a peepee, by the way. His son does say he's a peeping Tom.
Like, sure, but they sort of like, we are endeared to these characters.
The Porky's peeping is absolutely abhorrent. Yeah, all that stuff is so bad. Yeah.
But like, we are still endeared to those characters through their other actions in those movies.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're presented with a moral decision to make.
Yeah, Porky's is a tricky one because everything that those characters do is completely indefensible. But the movie still wants you to like them. But I don't think the movie wants me to like TJ. And the moment at the pool when he's like being all like slobbery, his girlfriend is right there, and he's being all slobbery all over Courtney and like grabbing her boobs and stuff. It just makes me feel really grossed out and weird.
He does both grab her boob and dry hump her butt before hurling her into a swimming pool when she clearly has a migraine.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean that's a page straight out of the Sam Russo playbook, right?
I mean, where do you think I learned all my moves? He nails. You're fucking right. He nailed his character. I'm sorry, but that's exactly what he was supposed to do. And then immediately afterwards, he has his Porky's moment. We feel endeared to him because of his apology. I really think that scene is good.
I don't think
it's the closest the movie gets to giving us both sides of a character.
We don't
get it.
We don't get any character growth from him. Later on in the movie, he's like, "Hey, this chick's had too many diet pills." Like,
because she is acting like she has. Come on, give him some credit. She's being all edgy and weird.
There's a killer.
Listen, in defense of TJ, I think I think he's fine. In this movie universe, in this cinematic set of happenings, he is a wholly appropriate beverage accompaniment.
If he had died way, way earlier in the movie, I would have been I would have been much more okay with it. Like,
I think if he died after the pool scene, I'd be okay with it. But
Yeah.
he still had more to give.
he didn't. He just more slime ball. Fucking hate him.
He could be slimier. He does only do really one slimy thing.
That's not-
The pool thing is slimy.
Yeah.
Everything else he does, at least I've watched this film once in 5 chunks. I'm by no means an expert. Everything else felt fine.
How do you feel about the cops being called Officer Kruger and Officer Voorhees?
I think I stopped watching the film both times that happened. It's fucking ridiculous, Jamie. How do you get away with that? Answer, you don't. You're in court right now and you're going to jail for that.
You
You're
get
going
away with
directly
it
to
because
jail.
like everybody fucking does it. But I think what you're doing here is being like, do you know those other movies? Those are the good movies. This isn't the good. Like all you're doing in that moment is being like, remember the better movies. You should be watching those, but you're watching this, so fuck you.
Inadvertently, I think that's the outcome. Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as they said Voorhees, I was like, Jason Voorhees is great.
Yeah.
That's all it made me think, as well as fuck this, don't do that, that's awful. You know, I had nothing but vitriol for that whole idea and that whole scene. I don't know if that's because maybe if I'd had 8 beers and was in a great mood, I'd be like, nice tip of the hat to the greats. But I wasn't in that scenario and I didn't have that reaction.
No,
So
because
sorry if I'm being a grouch.
You're on your 3rd and 5th attempt to watch this movie.
I just wanted to get it over with, man. I was hanging on TJ to get me through it. I just wanted it over. That's not true. The TJ was my favorite male character. I thought there was literally nothing coming from the core 4 that I thought sucked. I thought they were all great. I stand by them.
I think Sally is terrible, and like as we mentioned, her little songwriting moment is awful.
The songwriting moment aside, I still quite like her. I like her sass. I like her spunk.
So I think the writing for that character is a character that I like. I think the delivery of those lines is what I take issue with. I think the lines as written are ultimately
Terrible.
fine. But I think the way that they're delivered is... There's a moment in Weekend at Bernie's, right, when Andrew McCarthy has this line, which is like, they find Bernie dead, and spoiler alert for Weekend at Bernie's. They find
Bernie was dead all along.
they find Bernie dead, and the line is, "How are we gonna get back to the city? He promised us a ride," and Andrew McCarthy delivers it like, "How are we gonna get back to the city? He promised us a ride," and
Just no connection to the material whatsoever.
and like that's
nothing.
Every single one of her lines is like that. Like
It's like having no idea what the words even mean. It blows my mind when actors do that.
I think about that
Actors
line
for whom
all the
English is
time.
their first language. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
How are we gonna get back to the city? He promised us a ride.
I've got a million examples of that flying through my mind, and it beggars belief every time. How
Yeah.
does that happen?
God knows.
Oh, I don't even know. I need a Hollywood insider to tell me how that happens.
Like how does
I think, unfortunately,
how that happens
I'm
and how that makes it into the edit is bonkers.
Yeah, how does it... No one thought to be like, well, maybe we should try that again. Someone explained to him how sentences work. Like, what? I think I don't see anything as egregious as that in Heidi Kozak's performance. And I think I'm honestly won over by her look. Everything she wears is fucking great. She brings quite a lot of energy to a lot of scenes that could be so fucking bland.
Yeah, she's got like
And
a
I think the
preppy
movie
Sherry
needs
Curry
her.
thing going on, which I don't hate.
Yeah, lots of bright colors. She's got one of those like really versatile faces where at one second it's like strictly business, mean mugging as fuck, and then it's incredibly playful, then really sexy, and everything in between in a span of a minute on screen. And I can't take anything away from the performance.
I think she would have been good, or at least looked good, in a movie like Ladies and Gentlemen, the Fabulous Stains, or like Times Square, or like one of those like grotty punk movies from the late 70s, early 80s.
Oh, she'd be a great punk. Yeah, for sure. No doubt. But she'd also be a great cheerleader, in my opinion, like a mean cheerleader.
Yeah.
I think she's got a look that's kind of versatile in that regard. And yeah, I agree. I'm not going to go over the top and say she's absolutely fantastic and everything she does is a win. But she doesn't honestly do anything that I think is terrible. She sells being a drummer.
Yeah.
The hardest thing to do, I think, in the pretending to be in a band stakes. Anyone can get away with kind of lip syncing. If you move one hand one way and another hand another way on a guitar, you can sort of pass. But drumming, you have to look like you at least feel comfortable behind the kit and you know what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
The aesthetic of the movie is not abhorrent to me. I like a lot of the aesthetic. I think it's very of its time. It feels like a really low budget slasher, which is fine. And it uses what it's got at its disposal effectively in terms of here it comes, the mise-en-scène of Slumber Party Massacre 2. All of that is fine to me. It's just, there's too much rot.
Yeah, I think the writing, the performances, the everything that isn't the visual, and like, I think also the editing is quite good because apart from a couple of scenes that go on too long, the pool scene, the buzz scene, the fact that I don't ever really find it incredibly boring is an absolute testament to the editor.
You got to give it to the editor for that. Yeah. I mean, in that laundry list of things that don't work from you, I would also add the concept, unfortunately, because I fucking hate the whole idea. But that's not to say there aren't some small wins, in the connective tissue there. Like, I do think, I hadn't really thought about it in those terms, but you do have to commend the edit because I wasn't stopping watching this movie because I was bored.
Yeah.
I was stopping because it infuriated me.
Yeah.
And I had to stop or I was going to quit the podcast.
Well.
So, quitting was my only option.
Yeah.
So I quit the movie. I came back and time again, I regretted it. When I got to the end, I didn't have this feeling that I'd watched a terrible movie necessarily. I had the feeling that I'd been kind of abused by the film. Like, it just did so little well when it had such license to be great. I just think that the whole conceit of a Slumber Party Massacre is so good you can't fail. And then this happens.
All right, Sam. Well, why don't we end it there and take a break and come back and give our final thoughts and scores?
I'll do it if you will.
I'll do it.
Will you give it up, man? Nobody's out there. We're alone. Oh no, there's somebody out there. I'm picking up all this crosstalk.
All right, Sam, we're back. How are you?
Whoa. Hard pivot, Jamie. Yes, I'm back.
Sorry, I didn't want to talk about Greece in the break anymore. So
Greece and school shootings. If you want to join our Patreon, you're going to hear all about it.
Yeah. I don't remember how we... Oh, because you were singing Knocking on Heaven's Door. All right, Sam, do you want to... No, I'll go first, actually. I'll go first.
Go on. You first.
We started the month, the rip-offs and cash-in season.
This is another management talk. I love it. I love manager Jamie.
No,
Go on.
We started this month with me saying, I'm pretty sure this is the worst movie that we've watched for the podcast about Ghost House.
Loved it.
Like, it didn't take that long for us to reach a new low.
Dolly Dearest.
And it's this, Sam. This is the worst film we've watched for the podcast. And I think it hurts me more because somewhere in a different universe that Quinn Mallory has visited with his little Sliders buddies is a good version of this movie.
Yep.
Where
Agreed.
everything is done right. The ideas are built on and delivered properly with good performances and a coherent vision. And that hurts me more. Knowing that at the center of this movie, there's a nugget of something that could have been good.
It is painful, yeah.
Makes it so much more egregiously bad to me. And that's why I think it gets the low score that it has on various review aggregating websites.
Do you at least take comfort in knowing that an alternate universe Jamie is enjoying that movie?
No, because I think in that alternative universe, that Jamie only likes romantic comedies or something, because that's the cruel irony of the universe, right?
So he's never seen it.
Exactly.
Perfect. He's just watching Notting Hill on repeat, or a slightly worse version of Notting Hill in that universe.
Yeah, he's watching whatever the romantic comedy equivalent of fucking Slumber Party Massacre 2 is.
Slumber Party Massacre 2, basically. Anyway, go on. You were about to give us your rating, and I feel like you're stalling.
My rating is 1.7 bits of phone falling apart. So that's not even 2 bits of phone, really. Out of 8.
Pretty low for you, bud. Pretty low.
This movie is a low point in my life.
I'm amazed at how low it ranks for you. I really am. You know, you're the same guy I sat and watched Dolly Dearest with, and this ranks so much lower, like maybe 5 or 6 points lower.
Yeah, I think Dolly Dearest is a movie that is trying, and I think this isn't even trying. I think they were like, if we have some cool ideas, which I think that they did, and you disagree, but if we have some cool ideas and we film those cool ideas with no passion or commitment, we'll still have a cool movie at the end of it because the ideas are cool. And like, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. It annoys me.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed.
It's so much worse in your estimation than some movies that I think are terrible. Like, you think this is maybe 80% worse than Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, for example.
Yeah. Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers is having fun. I feel like this movie isn't having fun and wants you to think that it's having fun. It's worse. It's just egregious.
It's offended you. It's done some bad things to you.
Yeah.
And for that, you should apologize only to yourself because you chose it.
Yeah.
I'm struggling here. Ouch. I'm struggling here because I think if you put this and Waxwork in front of me and said, Friday night, baby, I pick this.
That's insane.
I stand by that.
I think like the beauty of Waxwork is there are, because it's basically all vignettes, and there are some vignettes that work and some vignettes that really don't work, and then like a crazy combination of all of the vignettes at the end. So like there are 2 15-minute sections of Waxwork that are so egregiously bad that like I guess left a sour taste in your mouth that spoiled the rest of the movie. But for me, I just got over that and enjoyed the other things on their merit. But like if you skipped over those 20 minutes, like that 20-minute section of Waxwork, you could have a much better time. And if you skipped over everything that's bad in Slumber Party Massacre, you've already gone to bed. Like,
oh, thank fuck. That's what I mean. That's what I'm going to do. I'd watch this over People Under the Stairs. There's many movies we've covered that I cannot rate this as low as, because for the simple fact that it comes from the universe of the slasher, which is a wonderful, wonderful thing to me. And yes, it dumps all over the genre from a great height. It does some things that are unforgivable. It fumbles every pass from start to finish. It fails in every single conceivable metric. But there is a core 4 to this cast that just about carry the action and are just about endearing enough to hold my attention.
Yeah, you give it a core 4 out of 10.
Probably. There's 5 moments in the movie that made me stop watching the movie, which is a first of all time for me, I think. Like, I probably would have given up if I wasn't duty bound to finish.
Okay, so can I...
That's what she said.
Point out that there are 4 things in the movie that you like, right? And 5 points of the movie that made you turn it off. So this is a -1 out of 10 movie. I'm just saying.
So far. So far. I mean, the thing is, the motivation to stop watching a movie because you're so insulted or infuriated or just plain annoyed is a seismic level of impact for a film to have on you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's almost, in many ways, the same as being moved to tears by the beauty of a movie.
It's identical in every way. You're 100% correct, my friend.
All right, look, there was enough of a vibe to this movie for me to enjoy, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes of it. The hideous failure of the antagonist it is central to its downfall, in my opinion. You could have had... Here's my big change, okay? While I was having my little break, here's how I would fix it. Are you ready?
Go on.
And that's arrogant to say that I could fix this movie, but I think this would absolutely tick a million boxes. You ready?
Go on.
You know the song Sweating Bullets by Megadeth?
Yes.
You have the killer be that guy.
Okay.
So he's the hello me, meet the real me guy. He has that vibe. He's that greasy, weird, nerdy, creepy, heavy metal guy. And he comes in and he does all those creepy, weird, nerdy, heavy metal things.
I think, like, the killer should be a heavy metal guy anyway.
Agreed.
Like, there's nothing scary about a fucking rockabilly guy.
Yeah.
Especially not in 1987. Like, it's quaint.
Yeah, it's very quaint. You're right. It's kitsch. It's, fucking, it's garbage. But anyway, that was my solution. We make it sweating bullets, and it becomes somehow tolerable.
It could be any heavy metal guy. It could be Rob Halford, like,
I don't. But that, I think there's
sweaty,
a specific...
bald, gay Rob Halford coming at you with his fucking, and like instead of a drill, it's an axe. It's the guitar.
Weirdly, Halford kind of works. Yeah, he has a entirely different kind of energy. I just think that it has to be someone kind of gritted teeth, nerdy, edgy, greasy, rather than like bombastic, throwing shapes, dancing. I think you got to get away from that as much as you can. You could take the killer from Slumber Party Massacre, the remake, and put him in this, and it would be better because he's at least creepy.
Yeah,
he's at least a bit greasy. He's not anywhere near as creepy or greasy as I wanted him to be, and he sucks. But he's better than this guy. So
anyone that's ever driven me on tour, they would be better. They're all creepy and greasy.
I'm gonna rate this movie.
Go on.
Oh, I should also say the banter.
Who's stalling now?
Yeah, the banter between the two girls who aren't having sex about the couple having sex is absolutely top shelf. When she says they just get louder the more they do it, and they do it a lot. Practice makes perfect. You saved the movie from a minus rating with that one exchange.
Okay, I'll allow that.
I'm going to give it 2.5 practice makes perfects out of 10.
Okay. If this is your favorite movie, I want to hear from you on any of the myriad channels that you can contact us via our social media or whatever at FT Horror Show. Like, I want to hear from you, and I want to understand what is your fucking damage, because like how high were you dropped from as a baby? Because like there's no other reason that this would be your favorite movie.
All-time fave. There's horror fans out there who really like this movie. In my research, I came across several of them.
Yeah, well, I can believe that. Horror fans, much like you, love to be contrarian dickheads. And
I'm honestly not being contrarian about this. I think it has some redeeming features, even though, for the most part, it's fucking unwatchable.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's fine. Just generally, you're a contrarian dickhead. But like,
I mean, I can be, sure.
People, just the idea that someone would say that this is their favorite movie, like in a world with all of the other movies, this isn't even the best movie in the trilogy of movies
this month. Yeah, in the trilogy. Yeah, true.
Like
quadrilogy. Are we calling it a quad now that the remake's out?
No, because that's not part of the original series, right?
Yeah, true. Shouldn't exist.
There are 3 trilogies that are interconnected. There's the Slumber Party Massacre, there's the Cheerleader Massacre, and there's another one.
Yeah.
There's a trilogy of trilogies. Nonsense.
Do you know what it could have been? It could have been like Ticks.
Yeah.
Ticks teeters on the brink of being shite, but it has so much going for it that it shouldn't really. Like, it pulls off some stuff that makes no sense.
Yeah.
It should be a good practical effects creature flick, which it kind of is, but it does a load of other shit that you're not expecting that makes it great. This could have done that. It had all the core components, but it just fucking didn't do it.
Yeah, I think they were too busy just having ideas and being like, "This is cool. We don't need to we don't need to try because we've had this fun idea." But like, a fun idea isn't going to get you to the bank. It's only going to get you out the door. Like, it's nonsense. It's bullshit. If this is your favorite movie, I want to hear from you on our social media at FT Horror Show. Choose your own channel. They're all there. If you agree with me or agree with Sam, like, if, you know, unlikely, but, you know, if you agree with either of us, or if you don't, still go to wherever you're listening to this, rate, review, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you have automatic downloads turned on. If you're watching this on YouTube, fine. Hello. You can subscribe there too, I guess. We are done with rip-offs and cash-ins. It's an oasis of fantastic movies only for the next month.
Fantastic movies only month. Now that I can get behind.
Yeah, I might be lying to you.
You might have to dial that back
a
shade.
Right, we're ending this podcast and we're going to go back to the Patreon to finish off there.
Let's do that.
All right.